So bail's we're gonna have a bail hearing.
I'm gonna set just a bond right now after we have our bail hearing, and then I'll let you make all the arguments. We can go through all the factors in the statute and see if that gets amended up or down. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to set initial bond at 1.25 million. 1.25 million. Based upon the fact of how many people in the courtyard were here at the courthouse, and the seriousness of all these felonies, and his bond status. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, the 26th at 9 o'clock, I'm sorry.
Warning. This podcast is intended for mature audiences only. It contains adult language, themes, and humor. Everything said here is for comedic and satirical purposes only. It is not to be taken literally, and nothing in the show should be used as a basis for legal proceedings or real-world actions. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Slightly Offensive. Your favorite host, me, Elijah Schaefer. We got confetti of color. I don't know why it's lagging like that. That's really bad.
It's really bad.
We'll figure that out.
The video's not lagging, though.
It's the AI or whatever, the RAM. It's very expensive. Sorry I was out Monday and Wednesday. I was in Florida fishing for the biggest Jewfish in all of Florida. By the way, the grouper is actually called the Jewfish. And I remember I got surprised the first time I went to Australia, which I was recently banned from for life, actually, which is fantastic, from the Home Office. Thank you for that. They said, would you like your Jew seared or fried? And I went, gassed. But the fish, right? No, but I was like, I really was confused. And they said, oh, it's called a Jewfish. Actually, an Australian got arrested because he said kill all the Jews or something on the side of his boat. This is recent, something like this. And he was actually a Jewfish fisherman, and he just didn't get it. But anyways, we love Jews here. Talking today is our story about Chud the Builder, okay? And as I told you, we're going to be changing the show a little bit because I didn't used to be an ideologue. I wasn't trying to get you to think like me, but I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of opinions. And because people lie about me a lot on the internet, and they say a lot of interesting things, I've decided now is the best time. I'm already banned from one of the 7 continents. You can't go to Antarctica because the Nephilim are there, giving the Nazis secrets. But now you also can't go to Australia, and you also have problems in general, specifically with other interesting things going on. Now, that being said, listen, we got this situation going on with Chud the Builder. And my friend Nick Fuentes has opinions on this, and some of my other friends have their opinions on it. And I think we have a really balanced take on the situation. And it's important because it's a cultural moment, a heritage moment, where we have to decide what we do with a situation like this, where a white man shoots a black man on camera in the public, and it seems justified, but he broke one rule. He called blacks the N-word, which means, according to modern society, he deserves to die. Now, his bond was set for $1.25 million, which is meant to make a lesson out of him. And we ask ourselves the question this episode: what do we do with Chud? And how do we support him or not? And I think we're going to have all those answers here today. Joining me in the studio is our resident DJ. Resident guest DJ. His name is, do we say your name on the show?
Georgie.
Yeah, okay. Georgie. There you go.
What do you mean? You don't know?
Well, I messed up before. with
Yeah,
names.
Georgie. Are we lagging? What the fuck? Well, it's good to be back, everybody. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I have some mixed feelings about it. Chud the Builder. I mean, he's a force of nature, and what's happened is a lot of people have strong opinions about it. I think a lot of people they're reacting very strongly without really understanding the big picture, and I think hopefully we'll be able to kind of narrate that and go through it today and show you a wider perspective on the whole issue. Hey, we're looking for journalists to write for our website right now. We have two that we just onboarded. Indy Noticer, he's been writing for a little while. And then we have Nicholas, I think Redman is his last name. So he'll be coming on soon, writing for us. We have some clippers, Groiper Firestick, and I think we just brought on two more. So I forget their names. We'll have to shout them out later. But if you're interested in working for us in that capacity, reach out to me. I'll put my name up one more time, at Sith Lord Groiper on Twitter. My DMs are open. Please contact me. It should be a good show today, though.
Yeah, so let's get into this. You guys don't know me. If you're young, and I'd say you're young, you're under 25 years old, not Georgie, you don't know my history, and you don't know that there was a time I got a call from somebody who doesn't like Nick today, Nick Fuentes, and that's all I'll say. And they were talking to me about Nick, which people often do. He's a big talking, people talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to tell me well, you don't agree with him, right? On the eat fast food and don't work out. I go, no, I don't agree with him on that. And they go, well, this and that. And they were talking shit. And I said, hey, listen, man, Nick is not just a friend of mine. He doesn't like this, by the way, but I'm okay saying it because I'm older than him and I'm an unk. I always tell him, you feel like my little brother who's more successful than me. I love you, dude. And I was there for you when everyone hated you, and they hate him now, but I'm never going to abandon my bro. I'm never abandoning my friend. I really love him a lot as a person. I really do care about his success, and I really do think he's a canary in the coal mine. And I think if they could kill Charlie, they're going to try to kill him. And I'm praying for his safety, actually, because I don't want anything bad to happen to him. But I know he disagrees with me on my take on this Chud thing. And that's okay, because I told the guy, listen, man, I don't agree with Nick on everything, but you don't see me leading every tweet. Well, I don't agree on everything. Well, yeah, you're a man. You should never agree with a man on everything. Okay? Fuck you. You don't agree with a man on everything. I'm going to say this. If you are a Nick fan and you want to go with his points, good. Be loyal till death. Rape, kill, die for Nick Fuentes, figuratively speaking, in Minecraft.
He changed it to eat, pray, love.
Eat, pray, love.
Now we eat, pray, love.
Live, laugh, love for Nick Fuentes. I'm not trying to, unlike some people, this is not called Slightly Offensive United. I'm not trying to steal your opinions, but I also am my own man. And, I worked it out with Arval, the guy who runs the White Settlement. And he was like, hey, man, be your own man. You don't need to be a groiper. You don't need to do what Nick says. I'll be honest. I'm always honest with this. I don't do what Nick says. I've never have, and I'm not a groiper. However, we are big allies of the groiper community here at Rift, and people need to get comfortable saying that. People need to stop trying to distance themselves from groipers, period.
Yeah,
and
everyone that works at Rift, other than Elijah, is a groiper.
Yeah, everyone who works everywhere is a groiper. But I'll say this. I love Nick. We disagree on occasionally, but he is loyal where loyal matters. And when I was asked today, I was like, did he get your back on this recent drama and stuff and things I can't even talk about anymore, legally speaking? And I said, yes, he did. And he did it
on the show and everything.
And he did it where it mattered, right? He did it where it mattered. He didn't performatively tweet a GoFundMe. He met with me in person and he gave me his support. And the boys need to know one thing. You do not need to agree with your boys on everything. In fact, you shouldn't even agree with your woman on anything. You don't need to have the same politics, views. Don't treat women like they're your friend. Don't treat kids like they're adults. and don't treat boys like they're women. Okay, that's basically the rule here. And so, this episode is not here to counter signal my friend, but it is here to give an alternate take to this Chud the Builder thing. And I want to start with one video here. People are fatigued.
Is this, go ahead.
Yes, people are fatigued. They are fatigued by minorities. And by people, I mean normal people. I mean white people. Being pro-white is the most fundamental and important thing to be in 2026. And I say that, you say, but being Christian is the most important thing. Well, what kind of Christian, you ask you, It's like, what kind of American are you? Remember that quote? What kind of American are you? Mm-hmm. What kind of Christian are you? Because a lot of Christians think being pro-Jewish is the most important thing. Being pro-white is the only thing, and I agree with Arval and the Wignats on this, being pro-white is the number one thing that is going to unite Americans. However, yes, we also need to all become Orthodox or Catholic. There is a politician in Taiwan who did something. Let me just show you this to start the conversation so we can see this is not an American issue solely. Watch.
Here it is, the controversial billboard for Li Hongyi, who's running for the Kaohsiung City Council.
This billboard is placed here on Shanming Road in Kaohsiung
Wood.
Xiaogang District.
Next.
Indian-born residents in Taiwan say the middle icon makes them uncomfortable. It's really unfriendly toward our people. You can't display
Oh,
such a
nice.
racist sign in such a public space. I hope they'll remove the billboard.
Under the no symbol is a picture of a man with medium complexion in a turban and with facial hair, as well as an upside-down flag of India. Residents of Indian origin find it offensive. They also say that the turban isn't quintessentially Indian, but rather particular to adherents of Sikhism. They add it's wrong to discriminate against a whole group of people, not to mention that the candidate essentially reinforced stigma against migrant workers. It's also the first time, they say, to see racism advertised so brazenly.
Clearly, it means
Okay, I want to start here because I want to open up the conversation on Chud in an esoteric way. Listen, the reason why I become very pro South or Eastern Asian, not all Asian, but Eastern Asian, even Chinese and Taiwanese have been very sympathetic is this. We are all very tired of people coming into our countries and claiming that they are one of us. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole here, but Albanese, the Prime Minister of Australia, this is happening right now, and I'm going to start bringing a lot of awareness. This has happened just this week, and it's very dangerous. He said, anybody who comes here on a visa is just as Australian as every Australian, and the White Australia policy is antithetical to our country. Every person here with a visa is Australian, and they're about to create a major mind sweep in Australia right now. They're going to make One Nation illegal. You're going to hear this here. If you're not Australian, you don't get this. One Nation is their far right party. I know they're pro-Israel, but just they're behind us. One Nation is behind us. They already made the White Australia policy or the White Australia Party a terrorist party. They've jailed everyone from Thomas Sewell to Joel Davis, and they have said this. And guess what? This is crazy. Before the next election, because they're about to lose to One Nation, who just won their first elections, they're going to fast track the 2 million people on temporary visas to become permanent citizens. 2 million of a population of about 27 million. They're going to bring 2 million new citizens into their country while they ban me. I'm banned as a white guy because I'm pro-White Australia policy, and I'm very open about that. I have been. They're going to bring in 2 million Chinese and Indians to become Australians because they said, they're actually also going to ban the gatherings, the anti-immigration gatherings. The actual home ASIO minister, which is their FBI, came out and said that these gatherings denouncing immigration are terrorist organizations. These are terrorist speeches. These are 20,000, 50,000 Australians in Sydney and Melbourne are coming out and they said, "You are terrorists, white man. You are the terrorist." They're behind us politically, but they're ahead of us in a lot of ways. They said, "You are a terrorist. You cannot, as an Australian, advocate for white people." They said this. This is verbatim. Go look at it. Advocating for white Australia is terrorism. Now, people like me, people like you, people like Georgie, see that. People like not just us, the Japanese, the Taiwanese, they see it too, and they go, We don't want these people in our country. They don't assimilate. They're not like us. This is becoming a problem. We saw Rhodesia, we saw South Africa, and we're watching the rest of our countries happen now. And so I start this way without talking about Chud to make a point. Hey, white boy. And I even say this, hey, non-white boy who wants to be in a white country. And there's a lot of shit given to the far right for being brown or whatever. And it's like, no, there's a lot of brown people who left brown people to not be around brown people. And they don't like them, and they don't want to be around them, and they don't think they're great. White culture, the whole 2015, if you're young, you didn't live through this, but the 2015 to 2019 era, it's online today looking at articles, saw some old articles like the problem of whiteness, whatever. White people are sick and tired of being told it is a privilege to live among us. And it's spreading, by the way. It is spreading to every ethno-nationalist high IQ society, including Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. Some say China, but not really, where we are being told that it is the human right of societies that could not build themselves, who were conquered by us. Remember, Japan conquered a lot of people too, who were conquered by us, telling us, and Hitler said, Japanese are honorary whites. He said that. Something like that. But
that's because they were allies.
Well, but yes, but that's why allies are important. The Groypers are Germany and I am Japan. Okay? That's what it is. And they're being told that these people deserve to live with us. And you are seeing flyers or banners put out where a politician says, no more Indians. And they go, well, it's Sikhs. You all look the same to me, buddy. And you smell the same too. Okay? We do not like you. And we never cared when you were a small minority. We never cared. We made abortion to keep blacks a minority, right? That's what abortion was made for Margaret Sanger. It's like, keep blacks a minority. White people are tired. We're very tired. And we're mostly tired of ourselves. It's a very controversial statement, but we're very tired of our own people not doing anything, right? Letting people walk on us, our politicians that look like us, that speak like us, that act like us, telling us that, you know what, there's no problem with America becoming less white. I'm going to keep it on America. Well, guess what, buddy? We see London, we see the UK, we see Ireland, we see Canada. We don't want that here. And while you can go to Martha St. Vineyard, Nantucket, New Hampshire, guess what? Things are bad in this country, and they're bad for one reason, and you're not allowed to talk about it, and we're tired. And I am not going to condemn on the show anybody, whether you're low class or high class, whether you're a Wignat, a white nationalist, or you're a brown guy who just wants to live in a white country. I'm not going to condemn you for giving a shit about our white nations, our ethnically homogenous nations. It's not just white, it's also Asian too, not turning into a land where we can no longer build, innovate, and create, but we have to cater our whole lives to the lowest common denominator. And this is like kind of an intro to the intro. It's just like, I get it. I'm fucking pissed. Okay? I don't like it. I don't like the way things are. I don't like the fact that my mall here in Frisco, Texas, we have an Indian problem. We talk about that a lot. The Indians are another problem. We had to put a curfew on Stonebriar Mall. A curfew that you can't be a minor walking around because so many blacks and Mexicans had invaded the mall that whites won't shop there anymore. And Georgie knows, I took him there. He got depressed walking around. And white people are
One of them
depressed.
tried to shake my hand. I
Right.
said, I shook my head and...
Right.
you know.
But we're depressed because I can't even go to Lululemon and be a white person.
Yeah.
Lululemon, that was named Lululemon so that Asians couldn't even pronounce it. That's a next level of whiteness.
Right.
You start a company and you name it something so Asians can't pronounce it. I can't go to my mall in a city where the average home price is $1.25 million in Texas, by the way. 1.25 million is like 15 million in California. It's like you are rich if you live in this neighborhood. Because white people are not allowed to speak up. And I'm saying this, the mall put a curfew, and a lot of us are feeling Rhodesian spirit. In Rhodesia, I know a lot of Rhodesians to this day and they tell me there was a curfew. Might have been 8 p.m. I don't remember the exact time. A siren would go off, and if blacks were not inside, they'd get arrested. And everyone said they were racist. The whole world judged them. And what happened to Rhodesia when they took away the curfew? Rapes increased 400%. Murders increased 280%. Farms started getting burned. You know why we care about South Africa? Because we saw what happened to Rhodesia. And South Africans are racist, and they've held the country pretty well from the outskirts. Why? They're the only people with farms making the food. And so, you know what we see? When I saw a tweet today that said, why are you so racist? Why do you care if America becomes less white? And I say this, I'm not even at the FBI crime stats. I'm not anywhere. I'm here. When a white country becomes minority white, they kill us. That's it. They kill us. And they ruin everything our ancestors built. This is not a Wignat episode. This is not defending calling black people the N-word. This is not a free speech episode, you know, be libertarian, go call all the blacks N-words. This is a question of fatality. This is Mortal Kombat, episode 1.
The question is, what do we do? Where do we go from here?
Correct.
And you know, this whole thing with Chud the Builder, he is a reaction. His whole platform, it's founded on the reaction to continued black violence that doesn't face justice. Or rather inadequate justice. For example, Carmelo Anthony, he stabs Austin Metcalf in the heart. His bail is set at $1 million. And later, by a black judge, that bail amount was reduced to, I believe, $250,000. Chud the Builder's bail right now is set at $1.25 million for objectively a much less severe crime. He didn't stab a guy in the heart. We'll get into it a little later. I don't want to give my full take here, but there is some complications here with the case overall. You know, the black guy that I don't actually know his name yet. I don't know if anyone does. But the black guy that Chud shot, he was allegedly, he was actively hunting Chud out and in seeking him out. There's text messages that were revealed that he was actively hunting this guy as prey to cause bodily harm or maybe even death. And I think that complicates the issue a lot. You know, but at the end of the day, we do have to ask ourselves, how do we react to this? And what I would say just right now is, I think the immediate reaction is to be violent, to, you know, there's going to be a lot of Chud copycats out there that try to do what he does. But what I would ask the audience here is, what is the end result of Chud the Builder? What is he actually accomplishing culturally, socially, and politically? And is there an end goal, or is this kind of meaningless, or not meaningless, but is it just provoked violence? It's just a reaction with no clear plan, no clear end goal. And that's really important to think about, because a lot of people, their innate reaction, or their general reaction to this is to be pissed off, to be angry, and to react with anger. And, you know, what I would say to that is, you know, South Africa, you know, or let's just use Africa as an example. You know, is it, what's the best way to defeat Africa overall? Is it, do you fight Africa with Africa, or do you fight Africa with European greatness? You know, it's like, do we use fire against fire, or are we going to use water against fire? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that makes sense on some level. And I think, you know, the reaction is to fight fire with fire, but that's not going to, it's an end with no result. And I think we need to be smarter. We need to be intelligent here and use what makes us great to come up with an actual plan that's going to create some victories for us in the long run, culturally, politically, and socially. So, you know, we'll get into the next video we have up. It's a full breakdown of the situation, and we'll go over it. We'll check it out, and we'll commentate over it. Let's check this out.
Yeah. Also, fuck this guy who's in this video.
Who's this guy?
He's not smart, though. I'll tell you that. He commented on one. I blocked him. He commented on one of my videos or one of my posts, and he was like, "You are a rapist and a child rapist, and you do drugs." And I go, "You stupid fuck. Tell me you believe all women without believing all women." My point is white people need help, right? They need help. They need a lot of help now. But he does have a good breakdown. I just want to say I don't like this guy. But he is giving a breakdown of the situation. Listen to this. And just for all the haters who always talk shit, I do have 2 upper duckies in my mouth today. So
I got
if
one.
it's a little slur, a little bit, it's like I am using nicotine to get through this, but for a good reason, because I have my kids back. And I have to wake up early for that. So I appreciate them. I love them. And I hope, they can watch the show when they're 16 and older, like everyone else. Listen.
Chud the Builder had to shoot a man in self-defense after he was slammed to the ground and this man tried to take his gun. His name is Joshua Fox. He's a 33-year-old black man. He'd previously been arrested for trying to kill his wife with a screwdriver. He was beating his wife. He called up random people with multiple different phone numbers and threatened them, and he tried to burn down a building full of people. Joshua Fox started this confrontation, calling Chud the Builder over, insulting him, aggravating a situation. Chud the Builder de-escalates and actually walks away. This man follows him, then assaults him, slamming him to the ground, which is seen on video. Joshua Fox lived. He is fine. American blacks believe that if someone says a mean word, then they can do whatever they want. They can even murder them.
I'm gonna kill this little nigga. Him and his girl.
In 2021, a Dunkin' Donuts employee, Corey Pujols, murdered an elderly man for saying a racial slur, and many people argued that it was justified. You don't even have to say the N-word. You could say something that almost sounds like the N-word, and they'll try to assault you.
I don't speak.
No, you do speak. You said my nigga. I heard you say it.
No, I mean, this
you got 5 seconds to apologize. Slap you open hand.
In fact, there are many black people who commit murder and get off on a technicality because their IQ is too low, or they actually murdered this person. They're convicted for it, like the 2 murderers of Ethan Liming, who got sentenced to 6 months, and the murderers of Valerie Schwab, who got 5 years probation. Annalie Chapa, academics, Stack Swopo, and others basically called for him to be murdered.
I want him to continue. You want something violent to happen.
Somebody don't knock his fucking head off. Bro, how the fuck he's still alive?
Just so we're clear, people posted this man's address every single day. They stalked him. They were planning on murdering him. People were posting about how he should be murdered to a large audience. People murdered his dog.
Someone killed my dog.
They were threatening his entire family, and then he got arrested because somebody kicked him out of a restaurant, and then he was interrogated until 3 a.m. by federal agents.
These people took all my phones. Oh, the FBI is interested in talking to you. We're waiting on him. I said, listen, I don't give a fuck. I have nothing to hide. It's 2 a.m. in the fucking morning. I'm just tired of shit. I know you guys do this shit on purpose.
Federal agents took his electronics and froze his bank account and wiped his Apple ID.
I wake up the next day, I try to go to the Apple store to buy new phones because I don't even want the old ones back. Put a pager bomb in them. I don't even want them back, so I go to buy new phones at the store. Bank card won't work. Go to the ATM, won't work. I'm calling the bank, customer service on the phone with them. Hey, can you unlock our card? Doesn't work. The Montgomery County sheriff that charged him and condemned him so harshly stopped posting inmate mugshots because his fat daughter was found guilty of aggravated abuse, abusing multiple children at a toddler daycare that they managed. This is what you're looking at. Sanctimonious bullshit from law enforcement, violent psychopaths who murder dogs and threaten your family, and you deal with criminal thugs who want to burn down buildings of people, assault their own family members, and murder random strangers. And you wonder, do they have the moral authority to try to condemn somebody like this? The ramifications of that, even if I'm exonerated in trial.
Okay, so let me start here with the argument that I think is very important.
Well, this guy's take was very clearly biased, but we'll commentate over it. But it is a biased take.
Yes,
let's just start there.
But it is. Here's the deal. We're gonna make 3 things clear really quickly. White people are demonized when we defend ourselves against black people. And the reason why is because black behavior is so bad in our country in general that black people are fatigued. I know it's a kind of a boomer take, well, the black people don't like it either. But listen to me. Blacks that are not the N-word, that are not that, are frustrated because they can't get ahead because of the N-word. And I believe, and I've talked to my dad, I believe 70% of blacks are the N-word. I believe 10% of blacks are normal people who integrate into society. And I believe 20% could have integrated, but they use their elitist status to justify the behavior of the bad blacks for revenge on the whites. I think there's about 30% of blacks that are integrated. 20% of them are loyal to their race, and they justify shit. They raise money, they create GoFundMes, whatever. 10% are just like, dude, I'm your friend, Daquan. Even just Charles. I don't like this. They try to get out of the black neighborhoods. They move into your neighborhoods. But 20% realize I can use my high IQ, which is just normal, but just like my 100 IQ. They're just not the 70%. The system wants me to work in it, and I can work in it to use black, victimization to push our narrative. Everybody knows one thing, and let's clarify this. We'll talk about streaming in a second. We'll talk about, the negatives, but I want to defend Chud for a second. Everybody in this country and every country that has Indians and blacks knows one thing. They are not integrative. They do not want to integrate. It is their choice. They do not like us. They do not care about us. They will fight us. They will attack us. They are not people that we want around us. And we all avoid them at every cost. We do not like them. The ultimate establishment sign of being white is earning enough money for your family to not live around them. I'm from LA, okay? I am from LA, and I know the downsides of Mexican immigration. Like, I'm not a, when they say, do you want 1,000 blacks or 1,000,000 Indians? Well, I mean, sorry, 1,000,000 Mexicans or 1,000 Indians? Like, well, 1,000,000 Mexicans. But I know Mexican culture is terrible. Mexicans that are in the culture know it's terrible. They're lazy. They don't innovate. They are a worker class. That's just kind of who they are. And some are good people, like Trump said in 2016. But everybody knows this. The blacks in Los Angeles are the scariest people you will ever meet in your entire life. They will kill you. And the problem with LA is every gun law, every violence law is about preventing you from defending yourself as a white person. And every white person I know, no matter how cool they are, you judge white people's mentality? What do the hot bitches think? Hot bitches are racist and they don't like blacks, okay? Whether you like that or not, they don't like them. And the ones that were molested by their fathers, fuck them. But that's a separate story. If you were a white woman, you're molested by your dad, you probably fuck black guys. However, they say, oh, only guys who are molested, have problems, they become gay. Well, our girls become lesbians or they fuck black guys, which is obviously worse. Now, I want to say with Chud, and I think that there's a disconnect here. And this is where I'll disagree with Nick on this, and I understand. I'm not going to say anything. I'll never say something negative about Nick on my show because I don't think there's anything negative to say. I think with your friends, there's never negativity about your friends. But where we disagree is this. I'll be honest. I'm not saying he is, but he's from a big city, and I'll just talk about myself here for a second. I'm an elitist. I'm from LA. And by elitist, people get turned off by that. I'm a cosmopolitan person. I was talking with a YouTuber who I didn't understand, and now I do, named Bazillion Thought, who I think has great ideas, and I think he's going to come on the show. I think, even though he's gay or whatever, how do you say that? How do you say a gay guy is has good thoughts? Well, I relate to the cosmopolitans. I think that we're educated. We live in big cities. We understand class warfare. We're not some chud that's like, well, I'm an incel, so I'm a real right winger. No, I'm a right winger because I'm 6'2". I'm 195 pounds. I have abs, and fuck you. I'm smarter than most Americans. And that sounds shitty to people, but no, it's true. It's like, I understand what's going on. And I understand why people like me are liberal, because they don't want to upset the system. However, I would like to say this genuinely. Every white liberal I know avoids blacks at all costs. They just don't tweet, I hate niggers. Okay? But they do. My own sister, I'm not going to say much, is a very progressive person, and she's very wealthy, and they're very liberal. And I joked with her during the last Trump administration before this, said, you want to build a migrant center in your neighborhood? Can we build in Highland Park, the area? I won't say exactly where she lives, but Highland Park, those that know, it's like the Malibu of here. Do you want me to build a migrant center? No. Why? I thought we love migrants. White liberals are the first defense against migrant centers, okay? Let's just be honest. They do not like migrants. They virtue signal because they don't have God, and they end up, trying to, justify migrants. White liberals hate minorities. Have you ever seen Gavin Newsom? He goes to the, what's it called? Dirty Laundry or something like that? Chinese Laundry, something, the restaurant. He was violating his own COVID policies. Okay. Every white person knows minorities have ruined our country. However, they have an idea that we should probably react to, which is that, well, they're here, so let's let them vote for us. We'll keep our power if they vote for us. That's not uncommon in any culture, any empire. Use the minorities to vote for you. But I want to say this. There is something that is called low IQ Semitism. let's talk about this for a second. It's a big discussion right now with Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian is pushing low IQ Semitism. Okay, he is.
Yeah, anti-Semitism.
Yeah. But it's low IQ. It's like, fuck the Jews. They should all die. He even tweeted out, I do want to kill the Israelis. It's like, I'm supposed to believe that you, even jokingly, even if it was jokingly, didn't ask to kill Ben Shapiro or the prime minister, but you tweet out that you want to kill Israelis. I'm not even going to write that. You know why? Because Dan is a 5-foot manlet who has a lot of money and he fucked some bitches and now people want to be him. And he says, Nick is a Fed. Nick is a Fed. I'm going to say this. I cannot say anything here. Nick is not a Fed. And I can say that very, very clearly. But he's like, I'm going to win on the fact that Jews suck. Hey, buddy, you're in a Jewish district you're running in. Do you know what Florida is? Florida is Randy Fine's district is Jewish. And South Florida, the mayor of Miami is Jewish. It is very Jewish. Hating Jews in South Florida is like hating blacks in Watts, okay? It's like running for the president of El Salvador and saying spics are disgusting. You're not going to win, brother. You're not going to win because the voters are Jewish or they all know Jews and they know good Jews. They're good Jews. That's crazy to think, right? Low IQ Semitism is like all Jews are horrible. It's like maybe that's true, but also think about this. Most Jews don't know they're Jewish and they don't care. And I've lived around Jews. They don't perceive their Jewishness. And you're going to go to a Jewish neighborhood and say you hate Jews. It's low IQ. However, I will say this. When you are blue collar, when you are Chud the Builder and you have to deal with blacks in the factory and your job's around blacks and you see how they bully you and they manipulate the system and they get raises because there's quotas, you might want to call a black a nigger. Okay? That's possibly true.
It is almost the same thing. And it's interesting that you brought up that point about what Dan said about Israel. He says we need to kill Israelis or whatever the fuck he said, something to that extent. And I think a lot of people, they're feeling the exact same way about blacks right now. And a lot of people are saying, oh, we need to kill all blacks. It's the same kind of thing. And for the same reason that we're going against Dan Bilzerian, I think we do need to kind of take the opposite stance against this as well. It's like, what is the end goal here? Is it, to progress racial? I would say, there's low IQ anti-Semitism and there's also low IQ racism. There's also low IQ racialism. And I think a lot of people, they're not really looking forward and seeing what the end result is. If Dan Bilzerian got everything he wanted, he'd just start killing Jews or whatever the fuck. And like, it really wouldn't, it would set us back.
Careful on that statement, just to correct you for legal reasons.
Okay, but
you
I'm
don't
saying
know. You don't know.
He
hypothetically,
said that. He said, I want to kill Israelis or whatever. He said it in his own words. So I'm quoting him directly on this. And I think we need to be very, very careful about how we react to this situation because, it is about black violence. It's a reaction to black violence. But are we going to react the same way that the blacks react to us saying the N-word or whatever? It's like we need to be more intelligent. And I think the ultimate victory here is a political victory. It's going to take time. And that's why Nick says things like we need to infiltrate the institutions. We need to gain power. How's your power level? Because there is a larger picture to reconcile a lot of these things. And it's going to take time. We can't solve it tomorrow. And I would say if 1,000 people tomorrow copied Chud the Builder and they went out and did the same style of content, would that actually progress anything that we want? And I would argue probably not. I think it would set us back a lot because think about what's going to happen here in the next few years. If we do have all those copycats and there's people going out on the street and copying his style and calling blacks nigger every day and they're getting shot, what's going to happen? There's going to be a blanket censor over all right-wing commentators, including Nick, including this show. Everybody that's pushing a right-wing agenda is going to get censored again. It's going to get taken down and we're going to lose years of progress. And so I think the initial reaction to react violently, to react with a big burst of anger, it's going to set us back. And we need to be very careful about that. And, that's what I would have to say about it. I think we need to be careful. We need to be very discerning here because I think a lot of people are going down the wrong path. They're going down the Dan Bilzerian path with Israel, and it's not going to get us anywhere. It's going to set us back. We have to be careful. And, ultimately we need to get people in power that will regulate and that will, bring change in a way that isn't going to create violence. Ideally, we can avoid violence. We don't want to shed blood. We're Christians. Let me remind you, I don't know if you're Christian in the audience, but, the right wing right now, it is in essence a Christian movement, and we need to maintain that because once we lose it, we lose it. And, we really don't want to see a bloody future. I don't personally. I think a lot of people are starting to want that, but it's just not gonna it's not gonna be good, So
No, it's not good. And I wanna break this down from Colin Rugg. Colin Rugg, I know his team. I've been around him for many years. And he broke this down and said this. Streamer Chud the Builder has been charged with attempted murder after he allegedly shot someone outside a Tennessee courthouse. 28-year-old Dalton Etherly is known for spewing racial slurs at people and filming it for his followers. Etherly accidentally shot himself during the scuffle after being confronted for his racist content. He said, "You start saying all that chimp out shit to me and I'm gonna hit you." And then he hit me. He started wailing on me, Etherly claimed, according to CNN. According to officials, the victim, who was shot by Etherly, was medically evacuated and is in stable condition. Etherly appeared to accidentally shoot himself in the arm. Etherly was also charged with aggravated assault, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Sorry, 1 second. And employing a firearm during a felony in this video.
So the right side of this clip, pause it real quick. The right side of the clip is the actual altercation that took place. It's a very blurry video from far away, so you're not going to be able to make out all the details, but it's the only one I could find.
Oh my God. Holy shit. They're out here.
What the fuck? Somebody got shot. Is there someone there?
Yeah.
Oh my God. At the fucking courthouse?
Yeah.
In between.
They got him.
Oh my God. Holy fuck. My heart beat.
No, I'm right there.
Oh, he's dead.
He's dead. Oh.
Dead.
Okay, so this guy apparently stalked Chud the Builder. He wanted to have an altercation, and we're not saying his name for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe he's a victim or whatever it is.
That article, by the way, is the next one in the list.
Oh, okay.
That proves that he was hunting him.
Okay, let me bring this up here. So Taylor Day wrote this. The black guy shot by Chud today was hunting him. He had said, where is this? His name is Craig Jones online. I don't know if this is his real name. Said, here's his address. Basically docs his address. He's near my city. Should I go do it? Right?
Yeah. So with the intent to cause bodily harm or even death.
Yeah. So he wanted to cause harm to Chud. Now, here's the real question. I got some pushback because I said, I don't personally like antagonizing people in public. Okay. Mm-hmm. People say, but that's what you do. You're a provocateur. You're a, individualist is what you do. No, I will antagonize public people. Right. So if you're on social media and you're posting and you're saying things, I'm a troll a little bit. I'm a comedian. We have a warning at the beginning of the show. I will do things and say things that I don't even mean. And by the way, for clarification, anything edgy that I've ever said online was posted by my staff, not me. Okay. It's posted by them. I don't know. They have access to my social media accounts. I don't know what they post online. Oops. They send weird messages to people and stuff sometimes. That's not me. That's not my fault. Chud was trying to do something. That's why I say about blue collar. I'm going to say low class. Blue collar America feels something. I'm from LA. I'm a city boy by nature. Even Frisco feels very rural to me. I'm used to the whole hierarchy of life. You cannot use a bus in a city. Irina Zarutska has a good, answer.
Yeah.
You cannot use a bus. Why? It's because of Mexican and black gangs, depending on what city you're in, or Hispanic, could be Venezuelan, whatever. But it used to be El Salvadoran. You cannot use a bus that you pay for with your taxpayer money. Why is it $1.50 for a bus fee in this day and age? It's because you already paid your taxes for it. You cannot use your public transportation. Even the subways in New York are scary. because there's wild black people on the subway. And yes, there are whites that are rabid and they do drugs. You know, I didn't particularly feel unsafe in San Francisco around all the drug addicts. In fact, they weren't really threatening. They're all white, by the way. So I know that there are dregs of society that are white, and fuck them. I condemn them. The reason why the black people are dangerous is because, you know, if you defend yourself against a drug addict white guy, you're not going to jail. You're probably going to walk free, even in San Francisco, for knocking out or stabbing a white drug addict. But if you dare defend yourself against a black person, look at Carmelo Anthony with Austin Metcalf stabbing. Like Georgie said, he had a lower bond than Chud the Builder does. There is a sacred crime in this country where we are not allowed to talk about black crime, okay? It is the single most scary thing that makes our cities once great unlivable. You cannot defend yourself against blacks without serious repercussions, and every white person knows that. Now, Chud the Builder was doing something that I think, I'll say this, we all get it, okay? We all get it. When you talk to black people and you call them a nigga or a nigger or some other slur that you're not allowed to say, okay, that's fine. You're not allowed to say those things. But when you have a culture that's so chopped that the only power you have in the world is checking people for saying a word about you, you realize that culture is lost. And the black culture is inherently lost. They're gone. They're irredeemable in many ways. And we talk about Israel. You know, you can talk about Israel now. Yeah, you might have your kids taken from you to another country or something if you talk about Israel. But I'll tell you this. You can talk a little bit about Israel now. You know what you cannot do? You cannot defend yourself against blacks, not just because of legal reasons, but because when you're in public, if a black person chimps out at you and you call them the N-word, white people will be the ones to defend them. It's actually white people. Like, how dare you do this? With some fat white woman. Yep. How dare you do this? It's white people defending the blacks.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are just like fatigued by black behavior. And when a Chad, he's called Chud, but he's a Chad. When a Chad blue collar guy comes out, he's ripped, he's tall, he's handsome, he's, you know, I don't watch a lot of his content, but he's, you know, somewhat well spoken, comes out and says, I can do whatever the fuck I want. This is America. It's not illegal to say these things. As a white person, you're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I support this guy. You know, screw these black people chimping out over a word. Our country didn't even give them citizenship till a while later. These people are just hurting our country, and we're tired of it because you can't afford gas. That's what it is. You can't afford gas, and you might not even go to a gas station because you're afraid to go because there's black people loitering. We have signs to stop black people from our businesses called no loitering. Nobody's loitering but black people, okay? Nobody's doing that. And you're sick of this stuff, and some guy's just like, fuck you, black people. I'm going to do whatever I want. There's a little bit of white camaraderie. Agree with me on this, at least, Georgia. I think you will. Maybe you don't. But it's like, there is a little wig gnat in every white person. A little wig gnat.
Yeah, it always starts that way.
Where you don't think through the situation. You're not thinking through what he's doing. You're just like, you know, just like we're afraid of black people and we see them, we're literally afraid. And I give them that. They always say, you're afraid of us. We are, because you murder us at extremely high rates and assault us and doesn't even get, you know, the news. We're afraid of you because you guys do kill us and harass us and shoot us and stab us and steal from us. I had a black person steal my wallet just the other day in Florida. Tried to buy malt liquor, $150 of malt liquor.
Yeah, but you know, the problem with this seems to be that, you know, Chud the Builder, he's fighting fire with fire. Like, he's acting like a nigga to get one up on the niggas. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, Elijah?
Yeah.
And, you know, I just think that doesn't really, it's not going to get us to where we want to be. And I think everyone naturally wants to just like get back at them. They want to get back at them. And so Chud, you know, he's going out, he's antagonizing the public. And there's one thing that needs to be stated here. We do have it pulled up here. We'll pull it up eventually. But Chud the Builder predicted this in great detail, or maybe not great detail, but very precisely rather. And he said, this is going to be my season finale. I'm going to shoot somebody. I'm going to go to jail. Then I'm going to walk free.
I have it here.
Yeah, look at this. He says, series finale is dead chimp on the pavement and you monkeys rioting when I walk free. Stay tuned. And it's like, yeah, he literally asked for this exact outcome. And, you know, I would say it's hard to kind of find sympathy for him because this is what he wanted in the end. And everyone wants to come out to his defense. It's like, this is what he knew was going to happen. He predicted this. And that's why I think his case is so, well, I guess it's a little indecisive. I do have mixed feelings about it because I understand where he's coming from. I understand where a lot of you are coming from. You know, we've had the last 30, 40 years of black violence, rampant black violence, and whites can't seem to get an edge in. We can't seem to get the justice that we want. You know, there was a mother, I don't know if we have the video, we might have it in the script, but it's a mother who was sent to jail for 15 years because she said nigger at like a kid's birthday party or something. It's okay. We'll pull it up later.
Yeah, I got it.
So, you know, things like this happen. Carmelo Anthony stabs Austin Metcalf and raises $1.2 million on his GoFundMe. It's like, yeah, it pisses me off too. It really does. And all of these things piss me off, but you know, we're white. We have intelligence. We have the ability to think in the long term in great depth and detail. And that seems to be something that these other peoples, these other races are lacking. And I think we need to capitalize on that. We need to think about this stuff and not fight them with their own weapons, not fight them with their own intellectual handicap, so to speak. And, you know, we need to be smart, but check this video out because this does piss me off too. And I understand how people feel. Listen. Yeah, look at this.
Shotguns pulled up to their home and pointed weapons at the children and the other people at the party. Here's what she said.
I do accept responsibility for what I've done. I know I was in the wrong. But I want you all to know that that is not me. That is not me. That's not him. I would never walk up to you and say those words to you, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. I forgive you. I forgive all of you. I'm not a mean spirit person. I do. I forgive you. And to your family, I'm sorry. It had to come to this point. But please don't think that I had any hate or anger in my heart. I was too short for that.
All right, so she's a mom, and they get 15 years in prison for mean words at a kid's birthday. That'll probably get overturned.
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't know how old this is, but
well, yeah, but listen, there was a different era. What we saw from look, if you're young and you're a young viewer of this show, please watch the show and learn. The Anglo-Saxon needs to learn to hate again. But it's like the McCloskeys in Missouri, right? They had BLM break into a private neighborhood. They were marching, protesting in a private neighborhood. You don't do that. They pulled out guns to protect their home. They got their guns taken. They ended up winning. They were very rich. We've learned that as a white person, the only way to ever assert your dominance is to be rich. That's what it is. If you want to stand up for yourself, you got to have money. And I want to bring up something here that I would like to bring some other things up that I'm not able to for reasons that I cannot. But we will go back to January 6th for a second. Because I was already pardoned, so I can say this, but for years, I couldn't explain why I went into the Capitol building on January 6th for years. Okay. And there are things today that I can't tell you guys. That's why I have my worldview. I just can't explain it for legal reasons. I couldn't explain this to you then. People asked, why did I go into the Capitol? Was it to fight a revolution? Was it to overthrow the government? Was it to, was it weird? Was it just like extreme streaming, like clav? No. What happened was I saw a lot of people doing illegal things, and I understood, and I have to be careful still here, even being pardoned, but I understood the anger at our government, okay? They stole an election, in my opinion. They did steal the election. They admitted to it. And Americans were like, fuck you to the Congress. Fuck you. You stole an election. You certified an election. Fuck all of you. And they committed crimes. They committed crimes. They assaulted officers. It's true. I do believe, I'm not an anti-January 6th person. I saw the government start it, but it doesn't matter. They vandalized. They broke into a secure government building, which is a very serious crime. And I had to make the decision, do you go into the Capitol right now? Which was illegal at the time. It was very illegal. And not being a low IQ person, I see a lot of, average white people who are mad, and they go into the Capitol, and I go, here's my decision. I don't know what their intentions are, and I don't know what they're going to try to do. But I'm tired of the government too. And at the very least, I would like to show the public what happens inside, because I can guarantee if we don't go inside that Capitol, and I don't, if I do not go, I was at the major news outlet at the time. I had my license from the Sergeant of Arms of the Congress. I go, if I do not go in, and I had to sign paperwork, you have to go through security, yada, yada. I go through the security, the same one Congress goes through, by the way, the back door. And I go, if I don't enter in right now, I do not think America will get an honest vision of what happened inside this building. And that's all I went in for. That's what I told federal prosecutors. I said, I just had to show the public what really happened. And I broke laws that day, multiple laws. And, a lot of controversy happened from that because, $250,000 at least in legal bills. I was in a safe house for a while. My family was harassed. My own side called me a Fed. I mentioned that. There's another guy named Schaefer. It's a different name. His name is John, that cooperated with Feds. They said, you cooperated. I chose to do what is not legally the right decision in a moment to defend the people of America from injustice. And as a white person, that's how our country was born. We were born from a nation who defended people from injustice. But I also never encouraged anyone to enter the Capitol. It's a very clear piece that they wanted to know from me. Did you encourage people? The federal government asked me, did you tell people to go into the building? Did you tell people to break things? You didn't do these things. I didn't break anything, I didn't vandalize. I'm a professional journalist. Did you vandalize anything? No, I didn't go in there. I didn't vandalize things. I don't like the government. I hate the government. And I'm in there, and that's what they try to get me on a technicality of you hate the government. You have anti-government rhetoric, anti-government tweets, yada, yada, yada. And you were in there with the terrorists, as they said at the time. And so the question was, am I a terrorist? And I said, look, guys, it is the rule of every journalist. You have to make a decision at every point. Is telling the story worth violating the curfew, violating the order? I have violated curfews. I have violated stand down orders. I have violated, vacancy orders. Because I'm in a riot and they tell everyone to clear an area, but I don't clear an area, should I get arrested because I'm a journalist recording a riot? No, I should be able to be there to record the riot, to show the people. That's Americanism. It's doing what the people need. And so I understand Chud trying to do his own version of journalism. And I'm not claiming it is journalism, but he's it's wrong that we can't say this word. It's free speech. And it's wrong that we can't call black people out, right? And it's wrong that people get arrested for this. This is not American.
Right.
I'm going to go show people as a white man, you don't need to be afraid anymore. And I'm going to tell black people you're chimping out. However, I'll tell you this, the first video I saw of him, the first thing came to my mind, the same thing that day on January 6th, which we all thought, we couldn't say it. We all thought, hey, I might not break into the Capitol. I don't know if it's the right thing to vandalize things, and I won't condone that. And I never did publicly condone the crimes that people committed, but I understood them. And I said that, I just understood the people. You're a white working class person. The government's fucking you over. They stole an election. You're mad, and you want your government to represent you. And it turns out that's really what they wanted. They were mad that the government stole. They didn't kill people. They didn't shoot people. They just wanted to make their voices heard. Chud just wanted to make his voice heard and show people. But I do think there's a caveat to this that we're not looking at.
Yeah, he felt powerless, and it makes it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I get it. And I'm saying with Chud the Builder, I view him like a January 6th person. I know it sounds crazy. He didn't commit a crime. He feels disenfranchised, powerless, and voiceless like most white people do. And they're tired of watching their country robbed from them. And, I didn't post the black square. I didn't give into this. I'm not going to do the Chud hate and hate on Chud. I'm not into that. But I gotta ask you, did the January 6 people help or hurt our movement? Because I can tell you right now, you think the stuff that people said about me on the internet has affected me or hurt me? Yeah, somewhat, because it's my children and stuff. You have no idea what it's like to be under investigation as a spy for this country.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, after January 6th, all the right-wing commentators were taken out, basically. They were all censored, debanked. You know, Nick Fuentes, he was debanked. He was put on a no-fly list. Many others were. And I was getting a lot of hate earlier, and someone said, look what happened to South Africa. The South Africans, they became tolerant, and then they lost everything. It's like, no, the South Africans didn't become tolerant. They gave up their positions of power in government, and they let the blacks come in. You know, there was the government officials that were pressured to abandon apartheid because no one was trading with South Africa, and they were held hostage basically in their own country, and they couldn't get anywhere because the whole world cut them off for apartheid. And the government officials were pressured to give up apartheid. And my point there is, it wasn't tolerance that killed South Africa. It was that they gave up positions of power. And so what I would say is that's exactly what we need to achieve, is positions of power, so that we can create the regulations that we want, so that we can make the world that we want and the country that we want. We're not going to do it via vigilantism. We're not all going to become vigilantes and say nigger on the street and antagonize blacks and shoot blacks. That's not going to get us anywhere. What's going to get us somewhere is taking those positions of power, regulating and creating laws, and also, you know, instilling the justice system, making sure the justice system works when blacks do get violent against whites. You know, the problem with blacks, and it is a unique, it's a unique calamity that we have because we brought them here on slave ships. You know, some say it was the Jews, like, you know, they did have a large portion of the slave trade, sure. But that doesn't defeat the point. They were brought here, you know, against their will. And so they do have a place in America. We can't exactly kick them out because they're, you know, they helped us build America. They helped us found America. Not found, but, you know, they built America in many ways. And we can't just get rid of them the way that we would like to do with Indians and Mexicans. And, well, I guess that's basically it. The Asians are pretty okay. They work well in our society, but you know, what you really do need is to gain the positions of power, and it's going to take time. You know, it's not an immediate reaction that's going to save the day. It's not becoming a vigilante that's going to save the day. It's by being patient. You know, Nick, his prescription for this is get into a good college, gain positions of power, hide your power level so that when it is time, we can take the government and transform it, maybe create something new, maybe abandon the republic. He said yesterday on his show that the republic is dead. And we need the empire. Long live the American empire. And it's like, yeah, that is what we need to work towards. And vigilantism is not going to get us there. You know, smart politics is what's going to get us there. And, you know, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it will. But I think that is our most viable option right now. And I think, you know, a lot of people, they want to react very strongly. They want to get violent. Look, and it's just not going to work. I understand how everyone feels. I feel it too. I genuinely do. I'm very angry about this. I think what happened to Chud, you know, with his bail being so high, I think there is a lot of injustice there, but, you know, supporting him, I think I can only really go so far with that because I don't want to endorse his style of content. I don't want to endorse, you know, copycats to do what he does and antagonize the public. It's just not going to get us any progress. And yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Well, yeah, so I want to bring this up here. What I want to say is this. Two things are true at the same time. I fully understand him, but also we can't make this just a white issue. There is a little bit of extreme streaming that has become a very big problem in our country, okay? A very big problem. And we mentioned on the show, we're going to go from just like, you know, skimming over random topics to really hitting on issues to help us think. You know, there was a clip that just came out from a Kick stream. And you can already see the image here. Look at this. You got a woman in underwear and a shirtless Chad. Okay. I mean, what is going on here? This is very interesting already. It's like porn without the sex. Listen to this.
Who was the youngest guy you ever fucked? You said 30.
13.
13?
13.
What the fuck?
For my birthday.
What?
It's the brother of my sister, of my friend, not my sister. Was that in the?
No, Nico. Oh my God. Okay, you gotta fucking put it in.
No, it was a wish.
Okay.
It was a Make-A-Wish again?
It was a wish for the birthday.
So fuck the 13.
All right, so you streamers now, it's this crazy thing actually. I didn't realize how bad things were, but streaming is essentially a plug to OnlyFans and porn. And all the way you make money in streaming is you start an OnlyFans agency, which Clicular apparently has done, and you have prostitutes on that are hot that everyone wants to have sex with, and you have them promote degeneracy to your audience. Okay, and you have this girl admitting, I guess it's Russia, so we can't do anything about it. I'm not like being, square about it. I'm not endorsing 13-year-olds having sex with grown adults, so don't get that right. But we're at a point now where it's like, shooting a black guy who's attacking you is arguably way less severe of a crime than having sex with a 13-year-old in terms of American law. Okay, one of them's questionable. It's like, did you have self-defense or not? The other one's like, you can't consent at 13. And I think even, I'm just not going to ever argue this, thing about guys having sex with adult girls. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my energy. It'll never get taken in correct context. But let's just say that in Russia, they do things differently there. That's all I'll say. They do things differently there. And 13-year-old boys can have sex with grown women. I don't know how they do things in Russia. Okay. That's their culture. I'm not going to get involved. But it's like, saying that on a stream is so crazy that's what it takes to get clipped now. And I saw that clip because you have to be committing crimes, basically, right? She's saying she had sex with a minor, like a young, and that's not even like 15 or 16 or something that people argue, not myself. He's 13. And I guess if he had sex with her, he was probably sexually developed. Okay, whatever. I'm not making an argument in favor of it at all. But it's like, we have this problem. And I saw one more clip. These are the two clips I've seen. Clav is the biggest streamer right now, I think, in the country. Maybe besides iShowSpeed, or at least biggest white one. And here's the only clip I've seen of Clav online. Watch this. I guess there's no sound. Why is there no sound?
Oh my God!
Get up. Come on, get the
Bro,
fuck up.
she just rocked him in the
Get
neck!
up, come on.
He won't listen to
What the fuck? Get the fuck up, dude. What the fuck?
She just fucking rocked him in the nuts!
What the fuck are you?
Get up.
You're just trying to embarrass this poor dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Ask him if he's embarrassed.
No, you're trying to embarrass this guy, and it's disgusting what you're doing.
Ask him.
You're taking advantage of him.
Ask him.
Right? Because men are down bad.
If I drop this, he'll just give it
No. Men are down bad, and you know that, and you're trying to take advantage of it. You're an evil person.
I want to make her happy.
You're evil, and you know that. No, you're an evil person. No, you're evil, and you're taking advantage, and you know it. You're taking advantage of this poor guy who can't get a girl otherwise.
No.
You're taking advantage. No, you're disgusting, and you know that.
I like how.
Okay, listen. To be fair to Clav, I'm not talking shit on him. He's obviously correcting something. But the whole streamer world has become about sex. Okay? It's all about sex. And everyone's here and they're seeing all this stuff. And we have this problem in our society where we're so jaded. We used to, when we were younger, be like, how did people go to these games in the Roman city and watch gladiators kill each other? Like, that's crazy. And now we watch Indians kill themselves for fun, right? We watch Indians commit suicide at a satirical level. It's almost like, and I'm a little bit of a bitch in terms of it's the cosmopolitan LA boy in me. It'll never leave. I don't like watching people die. Okay. I was never, when kids showed me people getting beheaded in junior high, everyone remembers that. Watching someone get chainsawed to death by a cartel member. Am I the only one? Maybe I'm weird. Your friend shows you someone getting chainsawed to death.
Yeah, it happened to me too.
Yeah, and then you go to dinner with your family and you're sitting there and you just go, I'm thinking about the guy getting chainsawed. I've seen things I don't want to see, but I at least have a little bit of a heart today. Okay, I have a heart. I don't like people dying. Okay, I don't like this. I don't like death. I don't like gore. I'm not into rape porn and these things. I don't like pain. Okay. A little, choke of girl wants to be choked a little bit, whatever, not that I would do that, but just people, I'm okay with that. But, consensually, I don't like this stuff. And what I'm afraid is that our general fatigue and wanting a solution is we're going to find the wrong solution. It's a very clear statement. Wanting our solution, and I mean this, look, and I'm going to say this, I don't think Germany was wrong in what they tried to do to liberate the Rhineland and re-liberate the Germanic people. I am German. I'm very pro-German, and I think that our people are better than everyone else. But that's just my pride, okay? As an American, which being my ex is Australian, and I've lived around the world, and I'm very familiar with European mindsets because Australia is much more European. It's a crown colony. I get that white people have been brainwashed and they feel a little bit bad because we have committed some mass atrocities in the world. When you look at the atrocities that we committed, you find out, look, there's objectively some white people have done some bad things. Okay. I totally admit that. It's like the joke, right? It's like, well, yeah, every race has done bad things. Like humans are imperfect. When you look at a lot of these atrocities, like, oh, we massacred the Native Americans. The Native Americans, whatever you want to call them, were shitty ass people. And they killed us too. And sometimes we allied with them. French Indian War, remember that? Like that's a real thing. We fought with them when they fought with us. But overall, what was the French Indian War about? It was like they were taking back their land that they had already sold to us because they didn't believe in property rights. What's the problem there? It's a different culture. They don't believe in property rights. And we can't live in a society where people are just like warring with us to get property back they sold to us. Like you can't just like sell a house to someone and then go start shooting at the house unless you're in Israel. But you can't just like shoot up a house to get it back, right? This is not a society we want to live in. We used to live in a place where we were not racist. We were not evil. We were trying to live in a society. We joke about that now, but we were trying to live in a society. And I get that white people look at this shit and they don't want this. They want to live back in a society. Okay. They want freedom. They want actual freedom to move around in their cities, to be around their own people, to not be killed. And going back to the Chud thing here real quickly.
Yeah, we're almost out of clips here. We're going to have our closing statements pretty soon.
Are we?
And
Okay.
Yeah, and we do have a whole nother block of we've been gone for a week, so we do have some of the stories that we missed in the next segment. But yeah, check this out here.
Yeah, so this guy, like I bring this up about the Indians, like they weren't just atrocities. They tried to kill us and steal our land. And we said, fuck you. This is our land. Clarksville today, this is back in 2024, not a long time ago. He's not a reformed guy. This guy, on April 18th, 31-year-old Joshua Fox was involved in a domestic incident with his wife at their Tower Drive. Did you try to hit her with a hammer or something like that? What happened?
I'm not really sure. I just know there was a domestic violence incident. So he beat his wife and went to jail for it.
Right, and she probably deserved it. So,
yeah, maybe.
No, but jokes aside, it's like that's the whole justification.
But yeah, that's who we're dealing with here.
This guy's a history of violence.
Mm-hmm.
And we will get to our closing statements.
Yeah.
What I think about is this, and I do go off on tangents, but
I would ask you something, Elijah.
Go ahead.
Like, everyone's looking for answers here. They're looking for a prescription. Like, what is the way to deal with this? What do you feel is the way to deal with this properly? Is it to react the way that Chud the Builder is reacting? Should more people do what he's doing? Or should we be patient? This is Nick's prescription is be patient, get into positions of power, seize power, and make the country what you want it to be. And it's going to take time. It's going to take 10, 20 years. It's going to be a long haul. But Elijah, I'm curious, what would you say is our way out of this? How do we react to this properly?
So this is my personal prescription, and my only personal prescription that won't be posted online by somebody else, except for myself. But a lot of those posted. But a personal prescription here is this. I will not condemn Chud the Builder for what he did because I get it, bro. I do not like being around these people. I do not like being around them, and not because I'm a hateful person, but it's because you do learn racism, buddy. You learn by living. And you learn that racism is the only way to survive. People like Irina Zarutska, who sits on a bus with blacks, you go, oh, I can't afford an Uber, this or that. Yes, you can afford an Uber. You can. Because you can't live with these people. You actually can't. When I see black people behaving like they do, and I remind you, we're at Frisco Mall at Stonebriar, and these blacks are chimping out. Teenagers. Teenagers. We can't do anything because they're kids. Even worse, they're kids. We can't do anything to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a curfew yet, and we're just trying to get a Lululemon jacket. And they're trying to harass us while we eat. I get everything in your body being like, get away from me, you stupid, dirty little nigger. I totally get you wanting to say that. However, as a cosmopolitan, as an elitist from a big city, which the conservatives give me a lot of shit for, and he's from California too, you know how these people are. You've seen them your whole life. You just look at them and you do what Georgie did. You go, nah, man, I'm not going to fist bump you. And you do not escalate, because what they want from us, and I swear to God, this is where a lot of the white people don't understand. What they want from us is they want a race war because they want to make being white illegal. I'm not joking. They want to make us terrorists for our color of our skin. And I don't know the way out of this, but I can tell you this. I never condemned Chud when he was doing this. But if you're at least a 90 IQ, and he seemed to know it too, you all knew how this was going to end. Because it's like, well, if you provoke black people, either you're going to die or one of them's going to die. And you know what? Margaret Sanger already took care of enough of them for me. So I don't have much to say here, except for this. I'm going to take a position finally here, which is not Nick's position, and it is not the Groyper position. And I'm not asking you, if you're a Groyper, to take my position. You do what you want. And if you hate Nick, you also do what you want. I don't really care. I'm going to defend him because there is a level of loyalty to white people from me. And if you're not white, a level of loyalty, I think, to free speech and to the reality of not wanting to live in a world where this word is fake and gay, to where my opinion is, look, there doesn't need to be a caveat here. Well, I don't like, and I know Nick gets mad at this with people too. Like, well, I don't agree with Nick on everything, but it's like, well, do you really need to say that? Like, do you need to say that? Mm-hmm. Do you like him or not? Do you agree with him or not?
So you think people should donate to the GoFundMe?
Well, I'm going to explain this. Okay. No, I'm not going to tell people what to do. I'm going to give a suggestion. I helped make Shiloh Hendricks' campaign famous with Tom Hennessy. And I like Tom Hennessy's next account. And we agreed, look, what we agree with actually is this. I'm glad she didn't get shot or stabbed. She called black people the N-word. She didn't get shot or stabbed, and she's a woman. Our women should not want to be around these people, and they should be aggressive. And if, like, I'm going to be kind of anti-women here for a second, but for court records, I'll say I love women. They're my favorite thing in the entire world. Dude, your bitch is being stupid. She was like married or whatever. It's like, your bitch is being dumb, almost getting herself killed and like whatever. Women do that. Women they don't think ahead. They're in the moment. But women want to be liked by people. And if a woman was willing to just say like, no, get out of here. You're harassing my kid. Get the fuck out of here, you dirty N-words. We should support her. Why? Because the blacks will support the blacks to try to put her in prison. They did charge her for like, disorderly conduct or whatever it was. We're going to have to sometimes take a stance to defend white people who may have asked for it, right? Like I'm saying, like we know if you say the N-word and you're on camera, mm-hmm. Governments feel the need to destroy your life, and we know that's the case. But there's nothing that should be against doing that. And And we defended her. And I want to say this. I believe we need to defend Chud the Builder because he's white. And if it's not, that's not your motivation because he's American. And because he has every damn right to say what he wants and should not be hunted in public for saying a word. And it's worth donating to his campaign because no American should be put in jail for saying words because they defend themselves from a crazy black and I'm going to say white people, stupid liberal whites who want to defend blacks because it's a way to get invited to their fucking turkey dinner with their gay boomer family. However, I just want to give one caveat here, and it's not to Chud. This is actually kind of breaking news here. I know this is going to shock a lot of people. If you antagonize black people in public, you're going to jail, buddy. Now or later. And my best advice is practical advice for black people. If black people try to start shit with you or whatever, leave the situation. Walk away. Because black people will kill you if they can. They don't fight fair. They'll beat you up in packs. And we've seen white guys try to defend their honor or whatever. Austin Metcalf, get out of my, like I'll just say this to Austin Metcalf. This is going to be used against me, but it's like, hey buddy, there's a black guy in your tent. Go get a security officer and tell him there's a black guy refusing to leave. Why? Well, it might seem like a cucked or a simp, and all the Wignats, you're a cock, you're a simp. Well, he's dead. Okay, he's dead. And I've seen, myself included, too many. I've been robbed by a black guy, home invaded. I got my wallet stolen. My brother was knocked out. There's a black guy in jail for that, trying to stab him or whatever. I've had a lot of crimes against me. And they're all from blacks. Okay, multiple crimes against me. And I'll tell you this: white people hate their government, whether this is a good or a bad thing. They go into the Capitol with the full ability to take over the government, and they get killed. Okay, Ashley Babbitt, the others, they get killed because they didn't go in there to kill anyone because they're not trying to kill anyone. They just want justice. Black people just want to kill you, and so or people say I'm a hypocrite. Well, on the internet, you said I hate niggers or whatever. Yeah, it's on the internet, buddy. It's a joke. The internet's not real. It's not brave. It's not cutting edge. It's fake. Well, then you're saying don't do anything. No, I'm not condemning him. I'm just telling you, if you do this, someone will end up shot or dead. Lucky if they don't end up dead. And the courts are not on your side, buddy. They're not on your side. And it's the same advice I give guys divorcing. I've had divorce guys call me and they've said the same thing. Hey, buddy, you want to try to make peace? You want to try to do this? You want to try to get justice? Just be business casual. Because the courts favor women. Family courts favor women. It doesn't matter. They can lie about you, whatever. You need to just be professional because you can go to jail for lying about her. You can lose custody for she can lie about you and you can lose custody for her lies and she'll never have accountability because there's a law that you can't sue her. And I can be like, well, dude, I'm not a cuck. I'm not a simp. Women are stupid. They're stupid. I hate them. Whatever. My wife's lying. Whatever she is. Hey, buddy, try to live in a society. If you want to reform that. But also note this. You want to get even. You want to tell the truth. And guess what too, buddy? Not just the courts, but the internet, the court of public opinion favors women too. And what do you want? And I was asked this, and I'm saying this genuinely. What do you want? I go, well, I want my kids to have a father in their life because it's wrong what's happening. Okay, buddy, play ball. Because as the CEO of Blaze always told me, and he told me this during January 6th, I was going to go on this big rant against the FBI and, They put me on a gag order back then. They do that, by the way. I don't know if you know that, Georgie, but the FBI will put me on a gag order. They put me on a gag order back then. It's lifted now. Mm-hmm. They put me on a gag order. And I'm like, I'm going to rip into them. I'm going to tell people what they're doing. They're fucking harassing me and my family. And he goes, let me ask you a question here, buddy. Do you have enough money to fight the people who print money? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, so the people that print the money are fighting you right now. They print money. It's like Alex Jones lost as well to the federal case with Sandy Hook. Do you have enough money for $1 billion fight? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I want to remind you, you think you're fighting injustice. You're fighting the people who can put you in jail for anything for no reason at all. Even which he didn't say this at the time, but the charge they got people on for January 6th was found unconstitutional. They can violate the Constitution and put you in jail. What do you want? Do you want to feed your family? Do you want to live another day to fight? Or do you want to die on this hill? And he would always ask me that. Do you want to die on this hill? Right now, you can get out of jail by just shutting the fuck up. Are you going to defeat the government right now? Go ahead. Go defeat the government. You tell me that. It was like a nice... Go defeat the government. Oh, you have a problem with the government, Elijah? The government's bad. The government taxes you. You know, listen, brother, this is the government. Can you defeat the government? I'm like, no, I can't defeat the government. He goes, be honest. Can you or can you? I go, no, I said, I cannot defeat the government right now. So then get the fuck out of this shit because you're not going to win. And I'm saying this with the Chud thing. It's like, hey, man, calling black people niggers on the street is not going to win our war.
Yeah, you have to work within the system that you're in.
Yeah, but I'm saying everyone understood why the January 6ers did what they did. No one faulted them for it. And they did impact our movement. And did Chud make an impact? Yes, he did. But I'm going to say this as a father, selfishly, as someone who had his kids removed from him wrongfully and had to spend an exorbitant amount of money to get them back, even at a limited time, and still has to fight for justice. Your kids growing up without a father is the worst shit you can do to this country. Unless, of course, you know that what you're doing has a fighting chance to actually win. And I do believe, and I have to be careful saying this, I do believe some, not all, but some of the January 6ers knew that cost and they went in with a better mindset. And some just were like, I'm going to go in. And you got grandmas dying of cancer going to jail for 5 years, for no reason. Not all, but some of the January 6ers knew that. They're like, you know what? It's worth doing this. And it was worth it to them. I can't say anything legally. I think that did make a statement. And I think January 6th did scare our government a little bit. But a lot of people lost everything for nothing.
Right. Like that was the result, right?
Yeah.
The result of January 6th was a blanket censor. Instagram censorship went up, Facebook, Twitter, all of the, and TikTok especially was, you couldn't even look up the name Nick Fuentes on TikTok. It wouldn't let you, and that's kind of where this stuff gets us. It's like January 6th, it was a big spectacle. And I think a lot of people, they rallied behind that as the idea that it would progress and get us further and it would show the boss what we're talking about and what we want. It's like, look, but they're still the boss. And you have to work within the system you're in. You can't just have these displays of passion and emotion and then get everything you want. It just doesn't work that way. And it's a real red pill. It's a real hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but you really have to work within the system that you're in. And Chud the Builder, he was effectively a vigilante for this cause. And look where it got him. He's going to be in jail probably a very long time. And I think the question he's going to be asking himself the entire time that he's in there was it worth it? Is what I did going to help progress? Is it going to help progress what we want as a nation?
It's a World War II question that I've brought up multiple times. I'll let you finish your thought. But
go ahead.
I've said this. We look back at wars way outside of it, and I'm not talking about revisionist history. And you hear quotes like, an American back in World War II had more in common with a German in World War II than they do with an American today. And we didn't used to think we should trust our government, trust our institutions. We just got to go fight these fucking fascist Nazis, fuck them, and Putin still parrots that today. We got to kill the fascists. And actually the only support I have for Ukraine is the Azov, actually, which is a huge reason with issues. But it's like, hey, listen to this. I've given an example for all of history, and you'll agree with me on this, Georgie, someone who's ex-military and stuff. I've said this, that a lot of young men with the knowledge they had in World War I by the way, they didn't run, they walked, but stormed no man's land. And what happened? Just slaughtered. And I've always said, almost every siege made in that war was pointless. Bravery, heroism, it's all true. They were brave and heroic, and I'm not shitting on our veterans. No way. And even in World War II, what they did was brave. And I respect the hell out of American veterans. Those are the bravest people that ever existed. And we can all agree to that. They're the bravest generation. But if they knew what we knew, if they had the knowledge, the ability to know and knew, maybe Hitler's right about what France would look like if they lose. Maybe we would have realized they realized maybe we fought the wrong people in the war. And I take that to today's war, and that's why I support what Nick does or what he says, because you can't take what's the popular position, which was fighting the Nazis, and I grew up, and everyone here grew up like, fuck the Nazis, I hate the Nazis, and I'm not taking the Wignat position of like, oh, well, the Nazis were perfect, and, they never did. Everyone committed war crimes in that era. The bombing of London was a crime, whether they were warned or not. The bombing of Dresden was a crime. People committed crimes that shouldn't have been done. But here's the deal. In war, there's no crimes, okay? There's no crimes. There's just winners or losers. That's how war works. You just win or you lose, okay? And right now, Chud lost. He lost. Do I want to help him? Yes. Do I agree we shouldn't help him? No. But I'm also not going to counter Nick in terms of, I see what he's saying. And that, to me, that's why we need people like myself, because he needs to say what he needs to say. And he needs to make the point he needs to make. Don't do that shit. And I need to say, I agree, but also let's not let a white man, let's be tribal for a moment, not let a white man go to prison because a rabid black tried to kill him, okay? But they're both true at the same time.
Yeah,
they're both true.
There is something there, though. It's like by giving Chud money in his GoFundMe, you're effectively endorsing his style of doing that. But just overall, like, think about the optics of it, right? Chud the Builder, he antagonizes blacks. He predicts this outcome. He knew it was coming, and then it did come. And now he's asking for $1 million in support.
No, he's
to
not
pay his
asking.
bail.
It's required.
Well, yeah, okay. And so people are giving him all this money. It's like, what is the statement that you're making by giving him this money? It's that, this is okay. This is kind of what we want. And, I understand that actually. And I'm conflicted myself about this. I don't really have a hard stance here, but I guess I'm just playing the devil's advocate. I would like to give him money. I would like to support him because he's white, because he's one of us. But at the same time, I don't want to endorse that style of content because I really don't. I think it's fruitless. It's not going to get us where we want to be. And it's going to create more censorship. It's going to hurt us in the long run. And
we're not endorsing it.
I'm not saying you let him fall to make a point.
We're not endorsing this. We're not endorsing this.
Yeah.
From my own recent controversies, I'll say this. I had people contact me and say, look, this is very true. You and your ex-wife and your problems are your problems. But the kids should have never been involved as pawns, okay? And I have people being like, look, I don't know what's true or not. And, I'm not going to get into it. It's all lies. Whether you did and I'd say this to all divorced people. And everyone knows this. I'll have a hairdresser who will say this. It's like, hey, look, I don't know. She's saying stuff about you. You're saying stuff about her. I don't know you two. It's like a hairdresser. But like bringing the kids into this and making the kids a pawn in this fight, that's wrong. That's not correct. And I don't need to endorse your divorce. Maybe she's completely telling the truth. Maybe you're completely telling the truth. Maybe you're both lying and both telling a little bit of the truth. Okay. Kids, you should not be fucking with her having the kids having a mom. She should not be fucking with the kids having a dad, because neither of you is claiming that either of you did anything to the kids or were bad parents. So this is not right to then take a parent issue and turn it into a vendetta issue. And that's my opinion with this. It's like, hey, look, I am not endorsing what he did. I'm saying I understand it. And I also know that the justice system is weaponizing the justice system, right? Like I know people looked at me and said, hey, what they're doing to you is wrong. And I may not endorse all your actions over life. And you know, your personal business is your personal business. Like, dude, if you want to go around and call people nigger, that's your personal business. It's not really my opinion. I don't really get to have an opinion on that. You just do that. However, if this trial was fair, I would not donate and I would not ask people to donate. If it was fair, if it was like $80,000 bond, it was a self-defense, you know, we need $80,000. It's easy to raise. And he's just like, you know, he'll get it tomorrow. And it's like, whatever, you know, like, you know, we have a video. He was attacked. The guy wanted to attack him. He did claim that he, you know, whatever, was somebody who was attacked. I'd be like, all right, let this guy live with it. But in my situation, I'm telling you this, when people realized it's going to cost you $40,000 just to get your kids back to the country, and people called me and said, I want to help you with this. I would like to help you with your legal bills because I do not believe any disagreement between you and your wife or anything you both did wrong, even her, even if she was wrong, even if she's completely was wrong, even if everything she said was right, it is not right to remove kids from their father and to take them overseas. I appreciate those people because what they were saying is this. They said, I'm not getting involved in your divorce. I'm not getting involved in this shit. But those kids shouldn't suffer because you and a woman have a disagreement. Those kids should not suffer. And I'm going to say this. I say this that's with Chud. Chud's kid should not suffer of not having a dad in her life. Is a kid. She should not suffer because the races were wrong. Okay? You know, where he would be incompetent to stand trial and get off on, you know, no cash bond or whatever. Chud is not a threat to society. He's not shooting black people on the street. You know, and that's what I say. There is a way, like it's fair. Look, and I think this is fair. They're like, dude, you're under house arrest. Can't own a firearm right now. Taking your firearms. Can't carry a knife. Got to do Uber Eats, my guy. Sorry. Can't leave your house. Can't go in public. Can't stream until we figure this out. Whether you aggravated this, what this is. He should be on house arrest, which I think all self-defense cases should be. Be on house arrest, take away the firearms for self-defense. It's a very true thing. Set a very low bond on the agreement that they keep the statement, because I think I don't even think that's fair. I think he should have been left off without charges. I think he should have been let free completely. But if it was fair and they just gave him, you know, a slap on the wrist, like the guy didn't die, right? No one's dead. We're not talking about a murder here. Nobody's dead. You shot yourself. Clearly it's like in that case, it's not aggravated homicide. Like they said, like if you're aggravatingly murdering somebody, you're not accidentally shooting yourself. There's a struggle going on there. There's clear signs of a struggle. We're going to take precautionary measures because it's a high profile case, put a gag order on him. He can't go live. Can't go on social media, and we're going to investigate this until we figure out what's going on. Okay, I'd be like, you know, good, you know, whatever. Shit happens. We all get into legal shit. It happens. But $1.25 million bail on an aggravated, like 4 felonies.
That's ridiculous.
Everything they're giving to him, it's because he's white, and it's because he said nigger. And so, like, I get Nick's position. Because I'm going to say this. He didn't say this to me. I'm not quoting him. And I'll never put words in my friend's mouth. I know from experience, I'm not going to say how I know, but I know from experience that there is very serious operations going on to destroy Nick. And he's not a Fed. And that's why they're going to destroy him or try to. I'm afraid for his life. I think everyone that knows him is very afraid for his life. And I think the next thing they do before trying to kill him, and I say that very scarily as a very truthful thing, I'm very, very, very fearful for his life, is they need to frame him for a killing, terrorist event, anything. And that's why I didn't knock him for the Tyler Robinson stuff. He needed to appeal to Charlie's audience. And I bet, and he didn't tell me this is not his statements. We've talked. I would never share our conversations. But I would not put it past the government if he tried to counter Tyler Robinson, that a manifesto would have been found and released with pages saying that he loved Nick Fuentes and watched Nick Fuentes. And he was inspired by Nick because his hatred of Charlie or something like that. And I'm not saying he did hate Charlie or anything. That's true. I think Nick has higher stakes. I think that there is a coordinated attack to discredit and destroy him. And I think that he is smart and he's cosmopolitan. He's from Chicago. And I think that he needs to be more careful than I do on what he says, period. And I'm not saying that's his motivation. I'm not saying that's why he's doing this. I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm just saying I get that he's got higher stakes than I do because there's a bigger opportunity to kill him. And if they would take my kids to try to destroy me, and they already tried to kill him, what would they do to him? And so not wanting to be attached to this is a good PR move for him. That's all. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm okay with him saying this because condemning this and not being attached to this is the smartest thing he could do. And so I don't want my audience saying, oh, Nick's a sellout. Oh, Nick is anti-white. Fuck you. I know him. I'll tell you what Nick is. He'll tell you himself, but I'll tell you what Nick is. He's not anti-white at all. He's one of your biggest advocates, maybe the biggest. But not wanting to be attacked to white people, calling people niggers and shooting them. Well, I'll say this. Very good for him. I think he should detach himself from the situation entirely. That might not be his motivation. He might really believe what he's saying. He's not saying he's disingenuous or anything like that. Just good for him. Don't be involved in this. Wash your hands because it's more important we keep him alive and free from charges and litigation like they did to Alex. He's not stupid. He sees what they done to Alex, what they did to me. Okay. I'm not even a fraction of his size and influence. And, from January 6 on, I've been fucked with royally by very bad people with government connections. And here's the deal. He already's not fucking girls. He's not drinking. So there's no honeypots. There's no scandals. The best they got is calling him gay or something, a cat boy. He doesn't need to go to jail because he inspired Chud the Builder. Okay? He doesn't need to do that. And I don't blame the shit out of him for not attaching himself to Chud at all. Mm-hmm. And also, unlike me, people will do what he says. And so trying to set a clear precedent that he's not supporting violence and he's not wanting you to shoot black people is also smart because people follow Nick. He's got a movement. And I say this, a lot of you don't like Nick, right? We got about 30% maybe don't like him and 70% do. And this is not a Groyper show. And I'm not asking you that you need to like him. I want you to understand him. And why? Because he's a friend and I'm loyal to friends. And even if you don't like Nick, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you don't like him, whatever you believe, you have your opinions, go ahead. This show's never been about telling you what to believe. You believe what you want about him. I'm not going to trauma dumping, but my own family turned on me. And Nick and I were in a beef, a very petty beef. It was stupid. It wasn't real. And I gave him a call. I gave him that. I got that call. I'm not going to say what we talked about, but I just said, if you don't help me, they're going to win. That's all I'll say. That's the blunt of it, or the brunt of it. And he was willing to lay aside any beefs, anything, and said, we're not going to let them take you out. Loyalty in this movement is better than calling black people niggers. Okay, that's my opinion.
It's true.
And we're going to win by white people being loyal to each other, which is why I'm going to be loyal towards Chud.
Well, we have the truth on our side.
Yeah.
That's like the most vital point to make, is that we do have the truth. That's why we've made so much progress in recent years towards our ends. And, Christ, he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And as long as we have the truth on our side, we literally can't lose. It may take a little bit of time, and a lot of people don't have patience for that. But I would urge you to find it, because eventually we will win, because we have the truth and we're speaking the truth. And everyone else seems to have lost that. But Christ also says something important. He says, those who live by the sword will die by the sword. And so I think we all have to be very careful in how we approach this. Are you going to fight fire with fire and lose everything? Or are we going to be patient with the truth on our side? And in the end, we will have the victory.
Well, yeah, and so I want to say this is at this. You know, we're slowly growing back the show. You know, we're already above 400 on the show on Rumble.
We're at 2,500 total.
Yeah, 2,500 total across platforms, but we're growing slowly but surely. And we're getting back you guys because we're being honest with you. I get more shit. I have to be very careful how I say this. Let me be very careful with this. Very careful. I just will reference January 6th. That's all I'll reference. And I'll say it wasn't the last time. But I have been approached by federal officers in our government with big threats about jail time and things. And there's a common denominator from January 6th is that, you know, the January 6th investigators wanted to know about Nick. Okay. They wanted to know. And in January 6th, they were very big on me informing on Nick to avoid 15 to 25 years in prison for espionage, wiretapping. And I knew that when the government is asking me to inform on someone, which I've never informed on anyone, I've never been an informant, and I never would, okay? I never would. But I'm always interested to hear their deals, right? What's your deal? What are you doing? For some reason, our government is very threatened by Nick, okay? And to this day. How do I know that? Who knows? I know people. People tell me things. I hear things. I meet people. But there is a heavy concerted effort to this day to gain access to Nick because they can't get him through honeypots. They can't get him through drunk conversations. James O'Keefe, and he's not actually doing this, but I mean, James O'Keefe can't, you know, have a gay date with him and get him drunk and get him to yap about his life. And I'll say this, you know, everyone that I know is bad in the government is highly threatened by him. And it always strikes me interesting. I've never been asked about my relationship with Tucker Carlson. I've never been asked about my relationship with Candace or with Lauren Southern or Stefan Molyneux outside of Australia. The Australian government has asked me about other people multiple times, pelted me about it, and I'm not friends with the Australian government. I am banned for life from a continent. However, I'll say this. I get your frustrations with Nick's stance on this. And that's why we're not a Groyper show. I don't get my orders from anyone. I don't get told what to think. I don't get told what to say from the government or from Nick or anything like that. But I'll say, just like with Chud, two things can be true at the same time. You can both realize that his antics were going to end badly, but also completely sympathize with him, understand where he's coming from, and want to support him. And two, you can support Chud and also support Nick because, like, I say this 100%. Like I said about the Chud thing, you know, hey, maybe if he thought through where this was going to end and actually understood it. You saw his face during the hearing. Yeah. Listen, I've been in court hearings. I've been in many federal court hearings, which we'll never talk about. But the deal is, it is very scary. Okay, to talk about Chud's decision, when you have, you know, and we'll just say January 6th as the basis here. When you're hearing from, like, you're in a federal judge and he's saying, hey, you're going to get 15 to 25 years, possibly life if you're found out to be working for a foreign government, and you're getting legal bills for $50,000. Do you know how expensive federal court is? $50,000 for a court appearance. And I'm telling you, this family court's up to 20 grand appearance, 7,500, 20 grand. And you're a normal person, and you're like, you know, you tweet shit and it's all drama, and you're realizing there's money you never even seen, $1.25 million. Some say $5 million, whatever it is. They put bonds on you and threats on you, and they start, you know, telling you things. Like, these kind of court cases a lot of the hearings are sealed, and they tell you things that are really scary. It gets very real very quickly. And I've been there. I have been many times in federal court, and I know the pressure, and I think it might be state court there, even state court, when you're on, like, bigger court, not just like city infractions, when you're in, like, real shit, you wake up. And you go, fuck. I shouldn't have tweeted that. I shouldn't have gone to the building, whatever it is, you know, because they got me on a tweet. That's what they got me on. I've gotten on tweets multiple times. They got me on a tweet because all I said was the revolutionaries have stormed the Capitol or whatever it is. I said one word, revolutionaries. And they're like, you do realize this is considered sedition. You're like, sedition? I just tweeted something out. It's like, you realize you broke into a federal building, took pictures of confidential documents, spread them to the internet to foreign adversaries. You didn't think about this. You go, foreign adversaries. Foreign adversaries are looking at the computers of our Congress. The Speaker of the House is now documented. What else did you send them? What did you send to Russia? What did you send to Serbia? What did you send to Belarus? Did North Korea ask you? And you're just sitting there like, nigga, I just tweeted some shit out from a crazy day. And it's like we believe you're a foreign agent. And you sit there and you're like, holy fucking shit. I might go to prison for just doing my job. And Chud was just doing his job. Okay. It's not, maybe you don't agree with it, whatever. I'll say this. We got to support him to whatever extent you can, but also realize that it is very smart for Nick not to attach himself to this. And he's not negating his influence. He's a target of very serious, nefarious action. And I'm going to say, he's not talking about it. I'm not talking about it. And very few people could talk about it without going to jail. But I can tell you that our government very seriously wants to silence his voice. And he knows that. And he's not going to go to jail or get popped for just saying some white guy should be calling blacks niggers. Okay? And I don't blame him for it. And good on him for protecting his ass. And we'll leave it there. He doesn't have kids, but Nick's not better in jail than he is free. And Chud the Builder is a social contagion. I think he's going to inspire copycats. And I'm not going to let the government say that I inspired those copycats either. So I'm going to say I don't encourage it, because there are people today that would like to say that I promote violence or different things. Who are those people? I don't know. However, I know the seriousness of it. And you have to realize that as a white person, it's my last statement here. As a white person, I know you're angry. And I know Chud's story is hard. I know that he lost everything, just like Paul Miller, right? I get it. I get it. For the poor white man, nothing sucks more than life itself. I wasn't even raised rich, and I've had to spend close to $1 million, maybe more, in legal fees in the last 5 years just because of my views on the government in Israel. And I've had to spend a lot of money to stay out of jail multiple times. And I know that you're pissed and you don't have $1 million to spend on shit. And you hate what your country's become. And that's good. Hate it. And don't like these people. And don't let Zionism or Protestantism make you think you have to like anybody. You need to love your family. You need to care about them. But if your motivation is not your family and your country, and it's your selfish self for clout, for money, for anything, you're no different than the Jews, no different than the niggers you hate. And if you let impulse take over you, I'll say this, there's been a lot of people that I hope get knocked out by blacks that have come against me in the last year. But you know what I didn't do? One thing my lawyers told me, people are provoking you. They're trying to get you to react illegally so they can secure their goals. If you beat someone up, if you blackmail someone, if you hit someone, if you do something stupid, it's going to feel real good in the moment. And there's been moments, I'm not going to get into detail, where like I'm on the phone with my lawyer and I'm like, this person is committing wrong against me, right? Wrong. They're like, just leave. I go, but they're wrong. And they go, leave. I go, why? I go, leave right now and I'll explain. And they call me, go, hey buddy, they're trying to get you to chimp out because ultimately their goal is to make you seem, for lack of better words, like a nigger. And when you go out and you provoke blacks like blacks provoke us, and you go out and you tweet things like, this is going to end in a bloodbath, and you start showing that you're looking for trouble, not only going to find it, but the government is going to destroy your life. And for all the white people out there, we need you out of jail, and we need you to have a lot of kids. And unless you know, I'm going to repeat the quote, unless you know you have a fighting chance at winning, look at the officer who did not kill George Floyd. Okay? If they want you in jail, I've learned this the hard way. If they want you desolate, you will be desolate and you will be in jail. It's not the Wignat quote. It's not the, hell yeah, we should all go out and start calling blacks niggers and take back our country and shoot them all. It's like, okay, buddy, we all have wet dreams. Okay? Mm-hmm. The truth is why do podcasters not have the solution to you? It's because currently the solution is illegal. And I can't encourage you to do the solution because I don't think you're going to win. And I'm not going to encourage you to go to jail or die doing something that's not going to help us. And so I want to win. That's why I don't countersignal Nick. I don't countersignal him. I think that's a bad idea. He's my friend too, but I don't think it's good to countersignal him. I don't talk shit on erratic young guys who are right-wing, who do stupid shit online. Even Wignats, I don't shit on them because we all go through a Wignat stage and we all do that. But 3, it's because of this. More than anyone, and I legally cannot say more than this, but more than anyone I know, possibly even Nick at this time, the stakes are very high for me, and terms have been set that have been very scary to me, and I can't believe sometimes the situation that I'm in and what has been said. Okay? That's all I'll say. And I've had to make decisions now, and maybe you'll see some stuff come out in the future that this will make sense. I've had to make some decisions. I'm not an informant. I'm not working the government, or anything like that. Nothing like that. I've had to make some decisions to fight another day. And sometimes you just have to say sorry publicly or walk away from a black person insulting you or just let black kids harass you. Sounds very cucked. To figure out how to stop it all. Okay? And too many of my comrades, too many of my people have died on hills, and they died, and they died. Too many of my comrades have died on hills, and I wish they were here to fight another day. And that's why we love Richard Spencer. He never died on a hill. Richard Spencer gets it because he's an elitist and he's smart and he knows what to do. He'll disappear, he'll go away, he'll stop talking. He'll even hurt his own career to ensure that he doesn't die. As a soldier, I leave you with this. My army is best left alive. Okay? My best army is the one that are alive. Yeah, I love a nigga who will die for my army.
And not in jail.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I love a nigga who will die for my army. Great. You're dying for the cause? Good. You should want to be able to do that. But you have a wife and kids, and you should want to have a wife and kids. And I don't need you dead. I need you, figuratively, this is in Minecraft speaking, I need a gun in your hand, and I need you on the front line, Civil War style. I need you in my line. I need the bigger army, and I need you to stand with me. And going around and calling people niggers, you're going to end up in jail. But I'll say this, may it be the last time that we deal with this sort of low IQ racism that we understand and we don't condemn. But if you're going to do it, don't film it. Don't film it, and don't try to make a mission of it, because they're going to cook you. And as an honorary Australian, I don't even hate the Wignats there. They fucked that country up bad.
Yeah, look at how much collateral there was, too.
Bad.
It's not just going to ruin your life. It's going to fuck up everybody's life who's working in this movement to make progress. You know. Elijah, you want to close us out here?
Yeah, and I'll say this. You know, with people saying, this pacifying nonsense. Don't listen to this guy.
Oh, we got to read super chats.
No, I will. I'll
Almost
say this
forgot.
to you guys. Okay. Go to jail, and I'm not going to fundraise for you. How about that? You go to jail, and I'm not going to fundraise for you because your little ass is going to go to jail, and you're going to ask me to fundraise for you, and I get the DMs. Go to jail. I'm not saying don't do nothing. I'm saying don't intentionally put yourself in jail unless the convictions tell you. That's why I can't condemn Chud. If your convictions tell you that you're going to win, then do whatever the fuck you want, white boy. Go ahead. However, I would much rather find our war soon and where we're going to fight figuratively, non-violently speaking. I have to say this all for legal reasons. It's not cucking out. I'd rather find our war and I'd rather fight alongside you in the foxhole and take Iwo Jima. Okay? The odds are against us. Less soldiers. They're banked in. I'd rather win. And that's why I said there's no heroes and bravery in war. There's just winners and losers. Chud is a brave motherfucker. He might even be a hero. I don't know. But he lost currently. I don't want him to lose, and I'm going to work to make sure he doesn't. And we're going to defend the shit out of him to make sure he wins. But as my people, I love how it's like, you're pacifying. What am I going to tell my audience? Go kill people? Like, go call people the N-word and shoot them? Like, no, I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'll go to jail for that. But I mean this authentically. If you, I really will end here. This is the last state. I actually will make this. If you think what I'm saying is wrong, you're like a 14-year-old who fucks a virgin in high school and thinks she's going to bounce on it like a porn star. Okay? You're like, but I saw it in porn.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not how virgins are. And a 14-year-old girl with no sex experience, when you're 14, by the way, when you're 14, she ain't going to bounce on it. She doesn't know what she's doing. And you remind me of those guys that are like, I'm going to, you're sexting. I'm not going to get graphic here and just vulgar. And like, I'm going to, fuck you for 2 days till you can't walk. And then you get with her and you come in 45 seconds. And you're like, it's like, dude, your talk is a talk.
Yeah. A lot of these people
Stop your bullshit.
Yeah.
You're not going to do this. You're not going to go to prison right now. You're not going to go to jail. That's why you're watching a podcast, not even making one. That's why you have an Anon account on the chat. Realize truly and 100%. Fight to win. And that's all I'm saying. Fight to win. Because clout dies, money can go away, and your freedom can be taken from you. But if you win, you can never lose. So let's try to win. And maybe podcasters aren't telling you to go shoot people and call them the N-word because that's not the way to do it. Okay? And if we knew the way to do it, maybe we would tell you. But it wouldn't be on a podcast because once you know the way to do it, it can't be said with phones around. And it involves having to kill Ben Shapiro and Benjamin Netanyahu. That's why Dan Bilzerian was correct. I'm joking on that. Yeah, it's like, don't do that either. Don't tell people to kill people. Please don't do that. That's not good. Don't do that. Anyways.
Super chats.
Going to the super chats. I told you you didn't want me to get yappy on, but I am yappy.
No, it's okay. We just
all right.
You want me to read them or you want to
go
read
ahead. No, I like when you read them.
All right. PNW Sparky 2021. Is the music too loud?
You got to put yourself on the screen though.
I like you on the screen when I read them.
This is weird, though.
Well, because I'm looking at my computer. I'm not even looking at the...
Okay, go ahead.
Is the music too loud? Okay, all right. PNW Sparky 2021 says, hey, Elijah, I gave you an anti-Antifa patch years ago when I met you in Olympia, Washington. I hope you liked it. Do you remember that?
Let me see.
Antifa patch?
Yes. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
And
PNW Pacific Northwest is what that stands for. Yeah. I definitely... I still have it, actually. I might be able to find it. I have a box of all the stuff I collected at riots and protests. It's downstairs in my living room, actually.
Well, thanks for the super chat. He did a duplicate, so I'm not going to read the second one. It's a duplicate.
They're all duplicates for some reason right now.
Based Farmer gave $7. He said, free Chud. I'm done with every person calling for him to go to prison. W. Elijah.
Yeah, no prison for Chud. I don't think he should be in prison. He defended himself.
Roman Salute gave $1. He says, my son's mother... is with an N that looks identical to Little Nas X. And I called him an N, and her mud shark Hold on, what? And I called him an N and her a mud shark after she started talking shit first, and she hasn't let me see my son in months. Oh, that's terrible.
Dude,
I could barely read
DM me on X. I may actually call you. Screenshot that if that's you, and if you're if everyone trolls me and does that, then I'm not going to respond. But if one of you does and you can prove that to you, I may actually call you because I have some ways that you can win that. And I got my kids back from another country, another continent, and they're back in my home, and they will be back more permanently in my home. And I care nothing more on the show than helping parents get reunited. Women too, DM me if you have been wrongfully removed from your children's lives, because you know what? I don't know you, but those kids deserve their parents in their lives.
Yeah.
On both sides, a mom and a dad. Go ahead.
Doomsday Cracker gave $5. He said, prayers for Chud's lawyers' ability to prove the Negroid had the capacity for forethought to predetermine this crime. True.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Strictly Buggin gave $5. He says, Arena will never have children. Her killer will never face actual justice. I know. So true.
Yeah, he's
It's
incompetent
terrible.
to stand trial, right?
Yeah, he was labeled incompetent 2 weeks ago to stand trial. Randall Flagg gave $2. He says, Elijah, promise us you won't copycat Chud in Frisco and call the Hindus Jeets and street shitters. They will definitely retaliate with biological weapons in the form of infected feces and urine. Be safe. Thanks,
There's a couple more down here, I think.
Yeah, let's see. Roman Salute gave $5. He says you should invite Catboy Cammy on. He said if you provided him transport to be on the show, he would.
Yeah, I'm sure he said that. That's very, very believable.
And that's our last super chat.
I think we might have, let me see if we have any here on YouTube. No, not on YouTube, but we do have one on Locals, which I will read here.
Okay.
It's a really big super chat. And it's from Boone Waffen SS, who said G, and it was part of an N tower that they gave. Don't forget, you can join Locals at ElijahSchaefer.locals.com. You know, I'll just say this. The show's back to regular broadcast hours next week. And I'm happy about that. And some normal things are returning. But, you know, I love giving legal statements on this show.
I know.
You know, of everything that was tried to destroy this show, which is to destroy you, they hate you and they don't want you to have a voice, right? Of everything that was tried over the years, many years, stolen channels, different things, slander, accusations, yada, yada. They didn't succeed. And Rift TV is going to become one of the most influential networks for Gen Z, and we are never going to give up on you. And if you're older than Gen Z, I'm going to tell you this, Gen Z needs our help and they need our love and our support. So please support this show because it's necessary. When advertisers come back on and these things happen, buy the products even if you don't need them. I always say that, just buy them and give them to people who need them. Like, we're selling fucking dick pills. Go buy them for your ED grandfather. Like, I don't care. Just buy the products, support the advertiser, support the show, and be loyal because I'm very happy with where this is going and where this has gone. And to my haters out there, thank you for trying everything. You can't do anything else. No one gives a shit. And I can only promise you all one thing. There will be pictures on X with more 21-year-old hot girls in the future. And there's nothing you can do about that. Exactly. My name's Elijah Schaefer. Thank you for watching another episode of Slightly Offensive, the best, worst show on the internet. Got to bring that phrase back. I love that phrase. The best, worst show on the internet. Horrible to watch, but you can't stop watching it because you know we're telling the truth. We appreciate you all watching. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on X. I know we've been posting on social media, Facebook and Instagram and stuff. We are working on that now, and we should have that fixed sooner rather than later to have an editor. If you are an editor or a clipper, we don't have a war chest to exonerate you. But I'll tell you this, we do reward loyalty. And some of this doesn't matter to you guys, but I am planning on at least having a barbecue soon, possibly a 4th of July barbecue, inviting everyone involved with Rift out to come hang out and just have a 4th of July with Americans. No phones. Sorry. Take a picture at the door, whatever. But if you're involved and you're helping in any way, it includes Doomsday. The shout out to Doomsday. That includes Notice Where I Am and people that help with the Discord. If you are a integral part of
real quick,
Rift.
Shout out the Shogun. He said Christ is King gave us $10. Thank you.
Shout out, yeah. Shout out Shogun.
You're invited.
Yeah, like if you're involved, there will be a way, because it will be at my house, so it'll be very, very. I have to know you. But we have a clipper now who's tripled his size of his account just by clipping for us for free.
Fire Stick, shout out.
Graper Fire Stick. If you want to get involved for the mission, I just want to let you know that I do talk to you guys. I do have conversations. And to prove that, after this show, which I haven't always done, I'm going to get on Discord into the voice chat. And to stop you fucking dirty little bitch trolls who make fake phone numbers and continue to call me, it is hard to get into the Discord, and you are vetted, and we fucking kick the shit out of people. People get banned from the Discord like nothing, and it's not for disagreeing. It's just like, we find you. And I just want to clarify something on this. I come from the journalistic world, and I have journalists for the mainstream media who trust me, and I trust them, which is weird to say, and they know that I don't fucking play with shit. I don't play with information. I don't play with shit. I'm real as fuck. And, when the New York Times approached me, the real New York Times, won't say who, and is like, hey, when's AFPAC 4? I even told him, I was like, hey, man, I don't know anything about that. And if I did, I'd only tell you if you needed to know. I'm not going to talk to you. And in the Discord, you're in the need to know category. And if you're not in the need to know category, we'll find you. We will set your house on fire and we're going to burn your car. Okay? In Minecraft. So you're going to fuck your own life up. Journalists don't even want to be in my Discord. They've told me that, like, hey man, I would try to join your Discord and I got denied. And I laugh. I'm like, a journalist of a major publication tried to get in my Discord and couldn't get in. Yeah, you can't. So we'll see you next time on Monday. Shout out the New York Times, America's #1 publication. America's #1 publication. Patriots. Patriots at the New York Times. America First United didn't stand a chance after that New York Times article. Patriots. Support the New York Times at NewYorkTimes.com. Get a membership. That's how you support the show. And follow us on Locals. Georgia, if they want to follow you, how can they do so?
You can follow me at Sith Lord Groiper on X. Like I said in the beginning of the show, we're recruiting journalists that write for our website and also clippers and editors. If you want to get involved, reach out to me at Sith Lord Groiper. And, the best way to get involved is to just be involved. Start clipping for the show. We'll find you. And we'll start reposting your stuff, boost your channel. We'll give you shout outs on the main page. But other than that, thank you everybody for watching. It's been a great episode. And Elijah, you want to say goodbye here?
Yeah, and the people that want to go on the Discord, go to Locals. It's free to join and request and come on one of the live streams and you can get the code and then you get in a vetted category and you can get in a vetted category and they'll vet you and you'll probably get a call from one of the mods and they'll ask you for some information and then you can go be racist, sexist, and commit crimes against humanity in the vetted server. And I have nothing to do with that. I don't sponsor it, but you guys do what you do. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of the week as always. I can't wait for the clips to come out from the show saying that I went on a drug-fueled or like drunken rage, threatening to kill people or something as they always do. Enjoy the clippers and all the A-loggers. You make us famous. You're actually really helping grow the show. We appreciate all the A-loggers and the people that are negatively clipping things. You're really helping us, making us relevant, and you're doing our work for free, and we appreciate you. Have a good night, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.